I'm now joined by Dr. Jane Goodall. Welcome to the summit.
Thank you.
What brings you here?
I was invited to take part in the panel discussions on climate change, which of course is one of the challenges that we have to face, and it's just taken too long for people to get together as is happening now. So I really congratulate Governor Schwarzenegger on bringing this group together. It's fantastic.
Now, all your work that you've done, you're really on the front line of climate change and seeing the changes that have occurred over time. What have been your observations?
My observations were crystallized 2 months ago when I was in Greenland, standing by what the Inuit call the big ice, and watching and hearing the great crack as huge slabs of ice fall off and fall with a thunderous roar, and a great river is emerging from the great ice that goes up to the ice cap. Never ever was there any water there throughout the year, and it's happening so fast, this melt of the ice. And I landed in a helicopter on ground that had been under the ice since the last ice age and now has little plants growing. It's very frightening.
What can we do collectively to make steps towards combating climate change?
For each one of us, I think we can all do our bit to reduce our own carbon emissions. And that's partly vehicle use and things like that, but it's also eating a lot of meat, because the methane from intensive farming is creating a vast amount of greenhouse gas, and people aren't really aware of that. And I was really pleased to see the UN, last year it was, call on people to eat less meat.
And how about yourself? What particular initiatives are you working on currently?
Well, we're working in Tanzania. It started off protecting the forests and restoring the forests to help chimpanzee conservation, realizing that there'll be no conservation of chimps in forests while people have such miserable lives. So that led to a whole program, Take Care, to help the people. And in return now, working with them on their land use management plans, which are mandatory by the government, and they're agreeing to put the 10% conservation land in such a way that it's a buffer between the chimpanzees and their villages, and the trees already are like 30 foot high, and so there will be a way for the chimps, our chimps, to interact with others.
Climate change, as we all know, is such a huge problem that can be overwhelming. What is the single most important thing that governments can do to help avert it?
I suppose, well, the main thing is for governments to take it seriously and go to the Copenhagen meetings with a firm commitment to bring a meaningful treaty out of it, because that's what's going to make all the difference. That's going to free up money to help people who are most affected by climate change, who've done the least to create climate change, and that's the thousands and millions of people living in poverty, especially sub-Sahara, where it's already showing signs of increased drought in parts of Australia and so forth. So, it's really important to get some teeth into an agreement at that summit.
Jane Goodall, thank you for your tireless work and your attendance here at the summit. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks. Lovely to meet you.
Good to meet you too.